Okay, so moving on to the NBA. Tuesday night, we had the two hottest teams in the NBA. Go at it. The Golden State Warriors went down to Phoenix to visit the Phoenix Suns. It was a slobber knocker. Yeah, look, I understand that this is early December, but this game had a playoff feel. Even though this game don't matter in the grand scheme right now, but I think both teams showed a lot of spirit, a lot of we want to be the best team. We think we're the best team in the West. You think you're the best team. Come on, Willie, let's dance. The Suns came out on top, 104-96. So, Jay, with that said, what are your big takeaways that you took away from this early high stakes matchup?
Well, even though the Suns won the game, and they also, I think they won last night or a couple nights ago. That winning streak is now up to 18. I believe that's a franchise record. So the Saints, you gotta respect them. And I really thought, coming off of last season where they just shocked everybody, I thought I thought they were gonna come back to earth, but they still out here, they performing. You got to give them a lot of credit. You got to give Monty Williams a lot of credit. But something tells me Golden State's going to be the better team when it's all said and done. Remember, Klay Thompson still has not returned for this team. They also without James Wiseman. And I got to tell you, there were two. Look, Steph Curry was. I didn't look at it, but I would venture this got to be his worst game of the season. You talking about 12 points on 4 for 21, a 3 for 14 from behind the 3-point line. I thought Mikal Bridges did a fine job on him. You was looking at the stat sheet earlier. I don't think he did much else in this game.
Nah,
But
he didn't do much else.
hey,
No, he
listen,
did not.
well, listen. You give a man a job to do, and he comes out and does that. You got to give him credit. But I just think Klay Thompson, when he steps out on the court, it's going to be a lot harder for teams to just throw everything, the kitchen sink and all the living room furniture at one guy. Um, and the other part of this game for Golden State, where they were just dreadful, is the turnovers. And this goes back for years. Like, I mean, the one thing that like Steve Kerr that he probably would have a problem with is they play their brand of basketball is so beautiful, and it goes back to 2015 when Steve Kerr's first year. The way they share the ball, it's infectious. It's one of the reasons that Kevin Durant went over there because
Right,
the way they share the ball. But my
right.
God, they can get careless with the ball sometimes. And this was one of those games. You talk about 22 turnovers, man, they were sloppy. A lot of them was live ball. They get the Suns out in transition. Suns had 12 of these with steals. Um, yeah, that was pretty dreadful. And you're on the road against a team as hot as Phoenix is. They paid the price. But even so, I mean, even as bad as Steph was, even as lackluster they were taking care of the ball, they lost by 8 points. They was in it, they was in the game the whole way. Chris Paul made some clutch shots down the stretch. The one big thing that I would notice, and I would be concerned about if I'm Golden State, is I think DeAndre Ayton's going to give them some problems. If you look at this team in a series, I'm not sure Wiseman, I'm not sure Looney. I think Ayton's going to have a decided advantage against any big that Golden State can throw at him. That would
Right.
be the biggest area of concern for me. But for Golden State, when they get Wiseman back, when Thompson gets back in the lineup, you think about this bench. Jordan Poole will slide back to the bench, and this is a guy we got to pay attention to. Boy, was he excellent in this game. And then who else you got? Who else would slide? Oh, it's either going to be Looney and Wiseman. They'll come off the bench. But when you got those guys, and then Looney or Wiseman, and Gary Payton Jr., by the way, he really
Right.
impressed me in this game.
Right.
Uh, yeah, that's a bench that's going to be worth fearing. You could do a lot worse than Otto Porter coming off your bench. So I think Golden State, their starting lineup's going to be fearsome. Don't forget about Iguodala either. He's back
Right.
on this team. I don't know. Something tells me this could very well be a Western Conference Finals preview. I like
Mm.
how there was so much energy coming into this game. It's a very
Right.
early season matchup, but clearly they look like the two best teams in the league right now. And I think it lived up to its billing. It's you don't often get a matchup to this degree before Christmas that seems to be this meaningful, but it was, and it was enjoyable. I'm glad we tuned in and we're talking about it.
Word. I mean, listen, for like I said in the lead in, for this to be a early, late November, early December game, I thought the atmosphere was incredible. I thought the star players, even though Steph Curry didn't play his best, he played though. And this one of those. Let me rest. Let me sit it out. He played. Devin Booker played. Chris Paul played. Draymond Green played. Hell, Klay Thompson probably would have played if he could. I just thought, for that participation in today's NBA, I got to give them credit for that because load management and all that. You'll be quick to get a player not to show up. So with that said, so just keeping it in the context of this game, and I'm not gonna go out big picture because big picture I agree with you. I think Golden State is the better team once they get their pieces back. But standing within this game, I thought in this game, the two things that stood out to me the most was, number one, the Suns' balance. If you take out, Mikal Bridges' numbers, and he was the only one that was a starter that was in double digits. You get 10 from Booker, you get 15 from Chris Paul, you get 24 from Aiden, you get 14 from Crowder, you get the whopping 2 from Bridges. But like you said, Bridges was more of a defensive guy here. And listen, if Bridges gonna go ahead and stop Steph Curry and make him score 12 points, I'll take the 2 points from him offensively. I ain't even worried about it. You could give me a Dennis Rodman stab. I don't give a rip. You give me the Tony Snell special. I don't care. Just if you can go out there and shut down the best shooter in NBA history like that, and by all means, roll them donuts. Roll that beautiful bean footage, So I'm not mad at that. Once you kind of illustrated that to me, it made more sense. I said, all right, cool. I can dig that. I thought their balance was a very big thing. Now, I go over to the Warriors. As I talk about balance for the Suns, I'm looking at the Warriors, and I'm like, okay, cool. So, Poole, he comes out here and give you a whopping 28, right? Oh, man. And then I think about Otto Porter Jr. coming off the bench giving you 16. So, I'm thinking about those two showing up. I'm like, well, this should be, quite a hell of a game for the Warriors. Steph giving you 12, Draymond giving you 8, and Wiggins giving you 10. Now, I think my biggest problem with what the Warriors did, if Wiggins and Curry, your two best players, are going to give you 22 total, that's probably going to mean you're going to lose the game. Because Draymond Green can't make that up. I'm sorry, but that's not what Draymond Green do. Kevon Looney ain't making that up. That's not what he do. So now you're dependent on Poole and Porter, and let's keep it real. Poole looked awesome in this game, but go look at the game before. He's not consistent. He just, when he played well, he plays well. And Otto Porter is definitely not consistent. He ain't been consistent since he got that big money from the Wizards. So, it seems to me, and I know this will change once Klay come back and once James Wiseman come back and all that. It seems to me they're very dependent on what Steph and Andrew Wiggins can do. And if those two guys don't show up, it's a long night in the office. Whereas when I look at the Suns, their best player, which is Devin Booker, gave him a whopping 10. And listen, you know how I feel about Booker. If Booker ain't giving you points, he ain't giving you nothing else. You ain't getting no rebounds. You ain't getting no assists. You might get an elbow or a flagrant, but you ain't getting much more out of that. That's what you get from Booker. So I know if he ain't going off in the points category, it's probably a struggle. But yet and still, when you got the rest of the team with the balance that they have, that's what you get. Outside of that, I was very entertained by the game. I think the Suns did enough to win the game because, like you said, if you turn over the ball at the level that the Warriors turn over the ball, that's going to happen to you. And that is what happened to them. So, good win by the Suns. Can't wait to see them run this back again. These are the two best teams in the Western Conference. Some consider them the two best teams in the NBA in total. I think they gave us that show. They made TNT proud. They made us proud. Can't wait to see the next matchup.
Yeah, just one final point on the Suns. Just to not be too hard on Devin Booker. He did leave this game with an injury in the second quarter, would not return. That's an even bigger credit to Phoenix for the way they continue to play and persevere into the second half. I really thought their defense carried them in this game. But also, I'll just go back to Golden State for a brief moment. Klay coming back, not only that's going to lengthen out the bench, but that's also going to put, Steph and Klay in the 1A, 1B, whatever. Wiggins gonna slide back to that number 3 score role, and I swear, if he can't get it done in that role, which is what they brought him over, in to play in the first place, then I don't know. Like that number 1 pick thing is starting to smell a little fishy out here. And just look, Draymond. I know Draymond ain't a scorer, but Draymond, I swear, when he gets the ball off when they trap step and he gets the ball and it's basically a 4-on-3. He's got to be aggressive and he's got to look to score. He's got to look to score more than he does, because you notice they play him a lot. They play him to pass. They think he's going to throw the lob or kick it out for a 3. So he's got to make sure he continues to be aggressive and look for his shot, because Draymond can still score the ball. He's just too passive for some reason. And I think if he plays more aggressive and keeps the pressure on defenses, that'll make Golden State even more formidable.
I agree.